so that's probably why.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We are officially up and running now, so let's try this again.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, don't have the volume all the way down. There we go. Fuck me. Third time's a charm. Yeah, dude, if she wasn't having an outbreak, I think you're fine. Oh, shoot, we're on.
Like,
This is Nick Kelly on the pamphlet on Kelly Digital. Adam, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing? How are things in Florida going for you?
They're going better for me than some of the tourists down here. We had an interesting situation just the other night. I don't know if you heard this story. Here is a clip from the local news. Whoops. Let's try that again. Here is a clip from the local news.
With no arms is a suspect in a South Beach stabbing. Miami Beach police say 46-year-old Jonathan Crenshaw held a pair of scissors with his feet and stabbed Cesar Coronado. According to the arrest report, Crenshaw says that he was lying down when the other man punched him in the head. Crenshaw stabbed him twice and ran away. But a friend of the victim says that they only asked the man for directions when he suddenly jumped up and attacked them.
How do you stab a man with no arms twice and then jump up and run away?
Wait, maybe I don't know this story. Did the guy with no arms stab somebody?
Yeah. He had no arms. He stabbed him with a pair of scissors with his feet and still was able to get to his feet and run away.
Holy shit, that guy's athletic as hell.
I
thought maybe he stabbed him with his dick.
That happens down in Miami a good bit.
A lot of homeless. Was that guy homeless, I guess?
Yeah.
Homeless, no arms, but he has scissors. That he obviously doesn't have shoes, because how else did he grip the scissors?
I just thought about how ridiculous it is that a homeless man has scissors. Because, like, I didn't even get that aspect of the story. Like, I guess that's his weapon, and he knows how to use it, but still, if I had no arms, I wouldn't look at a pair of scissors and think, I got to acquire those.
Well, maybe he's just in the crafting.
That could be. He's one of those scrapbook people.
Yeah, or he cuts like dolls, like that you pull apart.
Yeah,
you know, the paper dolls. Yeah, snowflakes. Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, Miami's hot, boy. People are going nuts down there.
That's true. I mean, hey, at least he didn't eat his face.
That's true. That's happened in Florida.
It's a step up from where we used to be.
Yeah. Oh, that crocodile.
So what's going on up north? Anything good?
Not too much. It's pretty hot, pretty humid. But I'm not going to complain about it because in a couple months it'll be 0 and then I'll really be complaining. So it's not bad. No.
Well, that was weather. Now let's hit the wire. This thing's going haywire today. Well, we kind of need the button bar for moving forward, so we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to sauce. This will be like a Quaid P break. Speaking of which, what do you think of the new show? You enjoying it? You've been part of both episodes so far. It's been pretty interesting, to say the least, I think.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was regrettable for long-term freedom in this country. They may just throw me in jail for some of the things I said.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody listened to the last episode. It is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and everywhere else you get a podcast. But we discussed where to hide a body, and we determined that we're both pretty sick, sadistic freaks.
Yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into that, and maybe I shouldn't have, because it sounds like I'm a creep that thinks about that a lot. But no, it was funny, though. I thought it was funny. You guys have to check it out if you haven't listened to that, or the other top 10 or top 5, whatever we want to call that show, with quotable movies was really good. I've gotten tons of people who have said, well, I would have picked this. I would have did this movie. And it's like, yeah, me too. If I was talk to you first.
Yeah. All right, I think we're good now on the button bar. All right, so first up on the docket is NATO. Trump is over there talking to our allies, telling them it's time to pay up. I don't know if you've seen any video from the breakfast summit that they had.
Yeah.
But it got pretty interesting right off the bat. Here's a little clip of that.
This has gone on for decades, by the way. But no other president brought it up like I bring it up. So something has to be done, and the Secretary General has been working on it very hard. This year, since our last meeting, commitments have been made for over $40 billion more money spent by other countries. So that's a step. It's a very small step. It sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But it's a very small amount of money relative to what they owe and to what they should be paying. And it's an unfair burden on the United States.
The good news is that allies have started to invest more in defense. After years of cutting defense budgets, they have started to add billions to their defense budgets. And last year was the biggest increase in defense spending across Europe and Canada in a generation.
Why was that last year?
It's also because of your leadership, because you're a clear message. And
Mr. Buster, where the fuck you at? Can't scrap a lick, so I know you got your dick on home.
I'm sorry.
The hood you threw up with,
This thing's just going crazy today. I don't know.
But that was good timing for that, because that was one of those thug life moves for sure.
Because it's kind of fitting.
Yeah, because of your leadership as president. Well, let me drop some knowledge on some people, because NATO, there's 28 member countries. And basically, they all have committed to spending 2% of their gross domestic product on defense for NATO. And essentially, the United States, we put in by far the most. We put in 3.8% of our gross domestic product, which our gross domestic product is over $18.5 trillion a year. So that's $664 billion that the U.S. puts in. So you say, well, that's amazing. Like, how much money do they have? Well, no one else seems to be putting in anything, so they don't have shit. But basically, there's only out of the 28, there's only 5 total, counting the U.S., that actually meet the 2% requirement. That's Greece.
Greece actually meets that requirement?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of surprised when I saw this article, because aren't they kind of broke too?
Yeah, that must be the only bill they pay.
Yeah. So Greece, Estonia, Britain, Poland, United States. And essentially, the U.S. is funding it to help protect those allied countries from Russia. Essentially, that's essentially what it is. And I think Trump he's getting pretty frustrated with it, because they have this big gas pipeline that comes into Germany, who's they're the biggest economic power in Europe.
We have that audio clip too.
Yeah, you might as well play that.
Okay.
If you have it.
Oh, motherfucker.
I hear that.
Yeah. I do have it.
Yeah. Well, tell me when you're ready. I could keep blabbering on.
Well, I have to say, I think it's sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries. And then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia. And I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas.
All them suck ass niggas can eat a fat dick. You can eat a big fat dick.
Oh, more thug life moments. If anyone's familiar with the meme, whenever someone says something very smart assy, and it's very clever. They get the sunglasses, the joint hanging out their mouth, and rap music played. But yeah, I think Germany spends for that pipeline. They're basically buying, I think it's close to $300 billion worth of oil and natural gas off of Russia. Oh, we're all supposed to be so afraid of, but they're doing business with them. So yeah, you can't stop laughing, Nick. I see it in your face. Germany can eat a big fat dick.
It's just so ridiculous.
So
yeah, they should buy the gas off us.
Well, that's what Trump said. You know, we're shipping. Actually, we're a net exporter of natural gas and oil at this point, which means we're actually exporting more than we're importing. So, hey, there's a lot of people. I'm in the industry, so there's a lot of people who are all about world, diversification of whatever we're selling. So, but back to the whole spending issue. I look at this. Okay, you got $664 billion spent just to NATO. Then you have this money that we seem to just trickle around the world for everything. And I know it's helping in some cases. Then you're also throughout time, you give it to people like Gaddafi. They're not giving it to the people the way it's supposed to be. Like, who is enforcing this shit that these people are actually taking the money that us taxpayers in this country are working? We're like the slaves of the world. We all pay taxes, and I have potholes like crazy on the road I live on. And these people are, these dictators and these other countries are getting all this money. And I'm all about helping out other countries, but you got to help yourself a little bit too.
Yeah.
So,
it's a valid point. They do need to start paying their share for sure. They need to up and want to be kept in mind though through these, tough talk negotiations is NATO has prevented us from going into another world war. Like, the reason why we pay for the world's defense is because we said, all you assholes stop building up armies because you don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, because they just run them into machine guns, get killed.
Yeah, because they, up until World War One, there were wars on and two, but since World War II, we've had the longest stretch of like peace, and it's in large part due to treaties like NATO.
Yeah.
So, yes, they should be stepping up the spending a little bit, but all the money we do pay into NATO, it's still cheaper than paying for another massive conflict.
I agree. It's just, there's an agreement there that everyone pays their 2%, and we're paying 3.8%, which is just because we're paying it, because we're the ones we're the police. So I heard some European, there was some European guy on CNN or something. He said, yeah, well, whenever there's a war, it's not going to be the Americans fighting it. Well, actually, yeah, it is. It's going to be the Americans fighting every war for all you people, because, we're the only ones. Well, I'm not saying we're the only ones. People in Great Britain, people, you had a lot of these people even participate in your Afghan war and all these things. So, but we're going to be the vast majority of the soldiers. It's going to be our soldiers. I mean, they're still getting killed.
Absolutely. I agree.
They should at least pay their fair share. At least what they say they're going to pay. They'll be stronger for it. We'll be stronger for it. And it kind of goes back to the whole, for me, it kind of goes back to the whole tariff thing. Trump wants to get rid of all these tariffs, or he wants to renegotiate. He's a deal maker, which really annoys a lot of people, which this is like something that hit the news wire for about 10 seconds because this was a really busy week. But, he said that he's trying to renegotiate all of these deals. But these countries, they don't really want to renegotiate because they have such a surplus with our trade. We have trade deficit with everybody. Everyone's making money off of us. This goes back to us again. We're the American taxpayer working, paying taxes, and
see that one I disagree. That puts a tariff on us on our imports. That tariff, or the Chinese consumer. We have a trade that but our economy is stronger than everybody's. So, you know, it's like the whole adage of like, you have a trade deficit with Amazon because you give them money and you get goods in return. So they have more dollars in your trade process than you do because of it. But you're still what you want.
Yeah, but like China, we trade with them at I think they charge us 25% tariff, and we only charge them 2.5%. I mean, that's pretty imbalanced. And China's the second biggest GDP. So, I mean, it's not like, I mean, we're big. We're 18 trillion. I think China was like 10 trillion, 11 trillion. So, but you have to believe the number. Do you believe the numbers out of these countries too? I mean, they could be totally bullshitting you because, you know, China is a huge producer of products for the world. And they said, oh, we can't just say, you know, Trump said, we can't just say, well, let's, you know, raise it on China. Because what China will do, they'll go to Thailand, they'll go to Singapore, and they'll just build everything there. It'll still be the same companies, and they'll get the lower rate. So you have to make it even. Right. Trump went to G7 a while back, and he said, hey, let's just get rid of all these tariffs. Let's just have free trade. And all the members of the G7 were just like, they literally said, let's just talk about something else because they make so much money off of us. So, I mean, hey, I'm fine with people. There's some sort of cost to doing business, but you know, you got to make it. It's just like NATO. You got to make it fair. I mean, why are our taxpayers and the working people in this country, why do we have to, you know, pay all the taxes, spend all the money overseas, and we get nothing here? You know, some of these countries still treat. I mean, in my mind, this angers me at times, and I like England and everything, but they have us where we're almost still like a colony. They still are making money off of us, just like we were when we were colonized.
Right.
You know, we're not part of them anymore. I mean, we're allies with them, but you know.
I mean, I like the idea of just complete free trade. That would be great if everybody would agree to that. But I doubt that'll ever happen.
Yeah, probably not.
So the other big news this week, well, actually, there's a lot of big news this week. But the other big news at this point week is the Peter Strzok hearing on Capitol Hill. You sent me a very nice piece of audio for that one, so I'll go ahead and play that now. This is Louis.
Do you want to try to just fill people in on what exactly this is for anyone who doesn't really know Strzok, just so they know the context? Because some people may not. Peter Strzok is an FBI agent. He essentially was involved in basically every huge investigation, Clinton investigation, Trump, Russia collusion. He's on the special counsel, all this bullshit. He's involved in everything. And he sent a lot of text out to a woman named Lisa Page, who was his lover at the FBI, stating a lot of things. So they brought him in front of Congress to explain, because he's part of these investigations. He's actually the point man on these investigations in a lot of these cases. So his bias is important if he has one. So they brought him in front of Congress, and you can play the clip.
Yeah, he was being what'd you say, interrogated? No. Dude, it seemed like an interrogation from Louis Gohmert from Texas. Louis Gohmert's awesome.
Well, Trey Gowdy grilled him.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear the Trey Gowdy part. I just heard the Gohmert one, and only because you sent it to me.
Every person in the United States should hear the Trey Gowdy part. But it takes so long because there's so many Democrats trying to stop him. They're screaming like when it's not their turn, and it's like a 20-something minute clip. But that way you would, at least the people will know like what's the problem with this, because some people on the left they were saying in the meeting that he should get a Purple Heart. These Democrats saying because he's a hero. Well, I don't think they know what that means to get a Purple Heart. So
keep saying that word, but I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah.
All right. Here's Louis Gohmert.
No, the disgrace
Mr.
is what this man has done.
The gentleman from Texas will suspend for a moment.
There is the disgrace. And it won't be recaptured anytime soon because of the damage you've done to the justice system. And I've talked to FBI agents around the country. You've embarrassed them. You've embarrassed yourself. And I can't help but wonder when I see you looking there with a little smirk, How many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
First off, fuck your West side when we rock, when we quick with game. You claim to be a player, but I fuck you. Bad boys, niggas fuck for life.
You knew it was coming, didn't you?
Oh, I did. I was laughing before you even got there. But essentially, Peter Strzok is married, by the way, and he was having an affair with another FBI agent, and he just got owned in a congressional hearing.
He did. He just got, you could say he hit him up.
I mean, if you watch the video of this, anyone who watches the video, there's wild, because you can see some of the other Congress people around him, and you can see like the Democrats are all like going nuts, screaming. You could hear them in that clip, but they really go nuts. But there's also other people who are just laughing like their asses off. There's a woman right behind Strzok. It's part of his legal counsel. Her eyes got like as big as cue balls. When he said, did you lie to your wife the same way? Oh my God. I loved it. I never even heard of this motherfucker before, but I love this guy.
It sounded like a Jerry Springer episode, the way that the Democrats were hooting and hollering in there.
Well, if you watch all, I didn't watch, it's like hours and hours. I watched some of the highlights of it, and I watch all Trey Gowdy. But, yeah, I mean, they're hooting and hollering pretty much the whole time. A lot of their whole thing was to push, just completely change the subject. They're questioning a guy about specific information, his investigations that he was involved with, and they just keep saying, this is a waste of our time. There's immigration issues. Well, they didn't want to talk about immigration when Obama was in there, but they want to talk about it at this exact moment.
Right.
But I could kind of break this down for people. Why it's so why this is such a why this guy even needs to be there, because you would say, oh well, it's just his personal opinion, he didn't like the president or whatever. But okay, this guy essentially, he started an investigation. He was the point man. He drafted it and approved and was the point contact for this investigation, the original document. He started this on July 21st, 2016. And this was Russian collusion with the campaign of Donald Trump and the candidate Donald Trump. And 10 days prior to even starting this, there was no investigation going on. He started texting his girlfriend. This is where the text kind of started. This Lisa Page, his girlfriend, he is married, so that makes it even funnier. But he started texting her that Trump would destabilize the entire government. He would essentially, destroy the government if he got in there. So, they start the investigation, basically by him. He was one of the main people. And before he interviewed a single person, he said he had all these texts. And this is really what's getting him in trouble, because it's like he's involved. He's doing the investigation, but has done no investigating, and he's already made up his mind of what's going to happen.
Right.
So a couple days later, after the investigation started, they still had yet to interview a single person. This Peter, the FBI agent, he texted his girlfriend, Lisa Page, and said, fuck Trump, which was something that Gowdy brought up in his thing. And Lisa Page wrote, maybe you're meant to protect the country from that menace. This was before they ever interviewed anyone.
Yeah.
So Strzok, or however you pronounce his name, said, I can protect the country on many levels. And this is all before anything's happened with this investigation.
Right.
So, okay, so it keeps going, because this is obviously an ongoing conversation that he's involved with. So a couple days later, still haven't interviewed anyone. And Lisa said, and she's also an FBI agent who was involved in these investigations too. Yeah. So I should say that, because I can't just say she's just a woman. No. But Lisa said, Trump's not ever going to be president, right? And Peter said, no, he's not. We will stop it. So basically, and then in his questioning, Gowdy probed him and said, "Who are you referring to?" And he said he was referring to the candidate Trump, and he was referring to stopping his campaign. Now he tries to say these are his personal views; they shouldn't be, they shouldn't be looked at as part of the investigation. But the guy is leading in these investigations, and he was involved with Hillary Clinton's investigation as well. And in the middle of that investigation, before they even talked to Hillary Clinton, essentially he texts Lisa Page. This is right in the middle of it. They haven't met with her. She hasn't even had the opportunity to incriminate herself with an interview, but they haven't done yet. He wrote, Hillary should win 100 million to 0, basically, in this election. So, you're talking about a guy he's right in the mix of the Mueller investigation now, or he was. They let him go. But he was right in the mix of all these other the Hillary email investigation, the Trump Russian collusion investigation. He's the guy. He's the main guy. And, it just goes on and on. There's one more that I think needs a mention. One day after Bob Mueller was appointed the special counsel, Peter
Strzok.
Peter Strzok still hadn't they didn't start their interviews on that one either, and he started talking about impeaching the president. So I mean, the guy's totally biased somehow. The IG said they're not biased.
Yeah. I mean, it's very evident that he was biased, and also you can't help but think he was trying to impress old Ugmug there.
Oh my gosh!
Don't worry, we'll stop him.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, he's a douche. That's obvious.
Yeah.
On many levels, but saying that is like ridiculous.
He's a douche, and he picked a really ugly broad to.
Yeah. Well, he's no beauty either. Yeah, he's no beauty.
He looks like a psycho, man.
Well, if you watch,
that is a psychotic looking dude right there.
Yeah, if you watch,
he looks like hit a body or two.
Yeah, yeah, he probably has hit a few bodies. Well, he has a smirk on his face throughout most of that. Basically, his interview or whatever you want to call it today. But I mean, sorry to go on a big rant about that, but I think there's a lot of points that people don't really know, and it's important to know the timeline because I could see if they're deep in this investigation and they have all this evidence piled up against either Hillary or him. And they're saying she's guilty. We can't let this happen to our country, that kind of thing. But they hadn't even done an interview on this. So
kind of jumping to conclusions, something an investigator is not supposed to do.
And he's doing it because his political bias. He wanted Hillary to win. That quote, whenever during the Hillary's, the 100 million to 0 quote was done. He said that 6 months before he even started the Trump investigation. So he had his mind made up on who he wanted to be president already, which is fine. That's your opinion. Everyone has the right to vote, even FBI agent or federal employee. But when you're the one starting these investigations and you're the one doing all this stuff, I mean, I don't know. And these conversations are happening between FBI agents. There's actually 2 other legal counsel, like people who are legal counsel for the FBI, who are also involved in this texting thing. But for some reason, they have been able to keep their names out of this, probably because they're some sort of lawyer.
Yeah, could be the food chain too. What has gotten lost this week somehow, because it was the end of the world on Monday, but Donald Trump has actually nominated a new Supreme Court justice to replace Anthony Kennedy, Brett Kavanaugh. I was a little disappointed at first. I was hoping for that Amy Coney Barrett. Like, I don't really know these judges. I just going off of what other experts have said, and she sounded like the home run hit. Kavanaugh seems to be a little bit more of a safe pick, and are reacting. my thought was you should just go for the, swing for the fences. But this guy, I think he's going to be pretty good. He seems to be very good on the Second Amendment, which is good to have, especially now. He conservatively, I think he'll do well. He's known to be pretty originalist and a textualist, which is good because that's really what a Supreme Court justice is supposed to do, is actually look at the Constitution and not try to think, well, how would they apply that today, and think, how does it apply to the Constitution? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Constitution. So that would be good if that's the case.
Well, and I'm not going to just say the left. I mean, they're obviously losing their mind about this. They were protesting this since Kennedy said he was going to resign.
Right.
And they were having a big protest down there, and it was this big thing. But, I guess the right, I don't think they would protest. The right really doesn't protest. But they would try to stop him if they didn't like the candidate. They would do that too. But
not really. I mean, you got to look. That's Sonia Sotomayor. She's considered the liberal on the court, and that's Ruth.
That's true.
She got pretty easily. Hell, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she only had 3 no votes against her.
I know. Back in the day, they let them in, like, basically whatever the president said. They didn't fight the way they do now.
Right. But, I mean, Mayorga came through Obama, and Keegan got through pretty easily. So, I mean, there wasn't that obstructionist. Now, they're throwing a shit fit because of Merrick Garland, but that was a precedent started by Joe Biden back in '92. So they have him to thank for it.
Yeah, you can blame old Joe.
Yeah.
This guy,
yeah,
this guy seems he seems all right. I mean, I don't want the Supreme Court to be political. I want them to look at the Constitution and make decisions based off of what is, law. They're not, they're reviewing to make sure things are legal or they're not. They're not out there writing law. That's what your Congress is supposed to do. So, I mean, the thing that's going to be interesting. Okay, so Kennedy was 81. He's almost 82. So he's retiring. Clarence Thomas, I'll just go through the list of everybody so we know the ages. Clarence Thomas, 70 years old. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, this is where it's going to be interesting. She's 85 years old. I mean, she's getting up there, and you could just look at her. She barely stays awake during some of these State of the Unions and stuff.
Right.
Breyer is 79. Roberts, 63. Alito, 68. Sotomayor, 64. Kagan, 58. And then Gorsuch is the newest guy. He's 50. And this guy is 53. So you got a couple people, I mean, especially Ginsburg. I mean, if something were to happen to her, she's not going to resign. She will never resign because she's political. I mean,
definitely will not resign with a Republican in office.
No. She would definitely won't. So if something were to happen to her, I mean, the left would absolutely... Yeah, the left would absolutely lose their mind because she's an automatic liberal vote every case. She's on the liberal side no matter what. She's probably never voted any other way. So that would be insane if something happened to her.
Right. And could you imagine if, like, they're actually kind of expecting now the Senate to possibly go more Republican after November. So, there's even more likelihood in the next year and a half if she were to step down. That whatever Trump puts up there will get through.
We'll get through, yeah. Well, do you want to kind of jump into what some of these people were saying? I mean, because this hit the news and it was a huge story until the next story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot was going on this week, but this story was big. I mean, people were going absolutely berserk about this story. And then they got onto the next topic and we're going absolutely berserk. So everyone's very manic. So, but, well, to start off, because Kennedy announced his retirement right before July 4th, I believe. And basically Michelle Wolf, your favorite comedian, female Carrot Top, She came out on her show, and I don't watch her show, but I saw the clip because it's ridiculous. And she was dressed all red, white, and blue. She had a band behind her. Did you see this at all? And,
yeah, I heard the clip.
Yeah, and she was saying, "God bless abortions and God bless America." So basically, they're at least I don't want to just say the left because I don't want to generalize everyone who's a Democrat. But I will basically say anyone who's in the media or anyone who is a celebrity, their only issue that they even know what they even have any conversation about or say anything about is abortion.
Right.
And really, Kavanaugh, I don't think a lot of the conservative guys, really conservative guys, think he's conservative enough about Roe versus Wade.
Right.
So this is not, to me, I don't think it's going to be an issue with him. I don't think it's going to come up. But that is the one sticking point for all these celebrities. That's all they talk about, abortion. They want those abortions.
They're all about the killing of the babies. They love it. They feed on that baby flesh.
Well, I mean, it can. And I think another thing that's a little bit, people are a little bit confused about is basically they think that if something happened to Roe versus Wade, it would just be no one could get an abortion in this country. It'd be completely illegal. But really what it would do, if I'm not mistaken, it would go back to each individual state would decide whether it's legal or not. So it's not like, oh yeah, it's illegal. It could be illegal in your state. If you're in a state that is run by people who are anti-abortion, if something like that were to happen, which I don't think will ever happen, but if something like that happened, it will be up to your state, not up to the federal government.
Right.
So, which I think a lot of people think it would just be like, nope, no more abortions. So,
and like that's the thing, to say that a state can't regulate against that is not constitutional by regards to the 10th Amendment. I mean, that 10th Amendment guarantees states' rights to, govern themselves, basically.
Exactly.
And I don't know. I forget which amendment they tried to claim fit abortion into it. I think it was the 4th, which makes no sense. The privacy between patient and doctor. So you have your right to privacy. So they use the 4th Amendment to make the argument. That is stretching that argument. 4th Amendment guarantees that you can walk down the street and not be harassed for absolutely no reason by police, not your patient-doctor privilege. So, it was a bullshit ruling anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, it is. But I think what people who are really, a lot of younger people looking at social media, they just think if they are I don't even know how you say it, pro-abortion. What do they call themselves? Like pro-life and pro-abortion, or anti-life.
They call themselves pro-choice, but pro-abortion's
pro-choice. That's what I meant. Pro-choice.
Choices before the abortion. You got the adoption, you got abstinence, you got contraception.
Yeah,
it's just not the murder.
Yeah. And if it's legal in this country, it's legal in this country. If it goes back to where your state makes the decision, it's legal in your state. It's legal in your state. I mean, that's the law. But I think that these people on social media think that Trump is just they think everything's gonna be done by Trump too. Trump's guy, now he's his guy, is just gonna get rid of abortion, so they'll be illegal, across the board, which is, just not exactly true.
Yeah, that it's funny because they put so much, or they let Obama really take so much power through, his executive orders and everything. Really slid from the executive office a lot of the time. When you do that, the funding guy could come up and just basically undo everything. And Trump basically has in 18 months.
Yeah.
Also, he was doing, whether you want to call him that, maybe you thought he was a benevolent dictator, but exactly he's a dictator. That dictating law to everybody without a Congress, without legislation. You're dictating from the executive branch.
Yeah.
That's what they want to live in. They want to live in a dictatorship. They just want it to be their dictator.
Yeah. Which, once there's a dictator in any country, it doesn't become a dictator for any side of the people.
No, absolutely.
So, well, yeah, Obama definitely abused that power. But like you said, Trump's like wiping all that stuff away. I hear the same thing, and it's almost like these people are brainwashed to think that's just the way it's supposed to be now. I was listening to the guy, CNN, Brooke, what's her name? Brooke Baldwin was interviewing he's like on the council or something. He's involved with, he's one of the Border Patrol. He's basically Border Patrol. And, he said, she says, you can't be doing this to these kids and this and that. And he's like, well, look, let me give you some examples of people where you have cases where these kids aren't with their parents. They're not with their parents when the parents are in this country illegally, and they sent back for their kid to ride on a train through 3 countries, a 5-year-old. I mean, that's what he's like, we have 5-year-olds. We have under 10-year-old kids pouring in this country unaccompanied with no parents. He says, right. We have people that come to us daily who say, oh yeah, that's my kid. It's not. And they have to go through and prove it. They say none of these people are the actual parents. Who knows what these kids are, are they going to be put in the sex trafficking? Are they really related to them? These people on the border are trying everything they can to get these people.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. I think it was a couple weeks ago. The last time we did one of these episodes was, human trafficking is a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a reason why you got to vet these people, especially when they're coming with kids.
Look, this guy said, these girls come across the border. They're given Plan B by the people who sent them, their parents or whoever. They are on birth control. They're 9 years old or 10 years old because they know that when they send their kids on this journey, they're going to be raped. I mean, we need to. And the guy said, look, if you want to come here legally, come through one of our areas. They have areas along the border where you can come into the country and you could start the immigration process and try to figure out if you can get approved or not. These people are sneaking across and they're breaking the law when they do that, which, hey, they're coming from a bad situation, but they look at these kids that are being separated initially from these people they're with because they don't even know if they're their parents. And I guess what I was getting back to, the Brooke Baldwin says to this guy, why doesn't Trump fix this? Well, Trump's not supposed to. Congress is supposed to fix this. Congress hasn't fixed an immigration issue forever. I mean, they've never done
talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. So she's grilling this guy who's actually on the front lines, telling her, well, this is what it is. I had a 9-year-old boy came here across the border. We drag him out of the river and he dies of a heat stroke right in front of us. Or we find dead bodies in the river of children all the time because they're not with their parents. They're just coming across. They're 5 years old. They're 7. They don't have parents with them. They're with groups of people who are coming across the border illegally, and it's dangerous. So whenever they bring them here, they separate them because, he gave a good example of this too. This guy seemed to have all the answers because he's actually the one working on this because he actually does the job. But he said, we had a girl, she was like 5 or 6 with her dad. He came in, they got caught sneaking across the border, and well, they separated them. Oh, it's terrible. But the guy has a rape case that he's already in the United States. He's already been here and, basically escaped. And he's got a rape case, a warrant out for him. So if you had a warrant against you, Nick, and they arrested you, they're going to separate you from your kids.
Yeah.
So
that is a common occurrence.
Yeah. And I mean, the guy said, look, come here legally. Come through the places where you can come in and start the immigration process. When you do it illegally, you're breaking a law for one, and it's dangerous for two. And if you care about the kids, you wouldn't want them to do that because they're getting raped, they're dying in the desert, they're drowning in the river. It's not the way to go.
But can you hashtag that?
Hashtag.
Yeah, like
no.
Hashtag raped by a coyote. Does that work?
Yeah, hashtag
trending.
Hashtag human trafficking.
Yes.
Mexican. Well, it's not even Mexican. They come from Central America too. They're coming from everywhere. But yeah. But
hashtag separated from my rapist.
Yeah, terrible. Rapist lives matter.
Yeah.
Well, that could get us to the one point about children, but that's kind of my point. But I guess back to my point, Obama used all this veto power to make a bunch of rules that end up get overturned because they're not actually gonna stick as law as soon as a new president comes in. So if you want to bitch Trump for enforcing the law,
as the executive branch is supposed to do,
exactly,
execute the law.
Yeah. How about you come up with some sort of solution or demand that your Congress people come up with some sort of solution on immigration because it's been going on for 20 years. That's been a problem. And fix the problem.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to follow the laws that are on the books. We can't say, yeah, well, Nick raped somebody this week, but you know what? I don't want to like get him in trouble. We'll let him go.
Right.
Or yeah, he's got that body. Is that rape though? Yeah, it still should be rape, even though the body's dead in your bedroom.
I'm just saying, if you want to hang out with someone, it has nothing to do with rape. It's just
Okay.
Let's play video games. But you know what? I got to get to something that you said, because you dropped in it's about the kids right after we talked about like child rape. So I don't want to leave that little meatball hanging out there.
Yeah.
You're bringing up, hey, into another story. So why don't you go ahead and go into that story?
Okay, so I don't even know if this is true, but I saw it. So it's on the internet, so it has to be true, right?
Right.
But we have the LGBTQ community. I mean, it's
AI plus.
I don't even know that, but hey, I respect people. I think if you're gay, you're gay. You do your thing, and I'm all about you having the rights, just like every other person in this country. You're equal. But there is a group that I would have a problem, and I think, and I really hope that the LGBT community would be against them being part of. But this group wants to be part of the LGBT group, and they're the minor attracted persons. Now, minor attracted persons, you think, what is that? Well, they're pedophiles, and they want to be part of. They want to be part of the LGBTQAI 1, 2, 3, whatever that is. They want to be part of that, and they want those kind of rights. So pedophiles want to be looked at as okay people. Yeah, equal rights for pedophiles.
Now, this doesn't belong to obviously the whole left, but there is a faction in the left that does seem to have an interest in normalizing pedophilia.
You know what ones those are? Pedophiles.
Well, have you ever heard of slate.com?
No.
Actually, it might have been, it was Salon. Is either Slate or Salon? One of the two. They're basically the exact same thing. But it was Salon. They ran a story. They let a pedophile write an article titled "I Am Not a Monster," and he did this whole expose on how, yes, he's attracted to young, underage girls, but he's never touched them. He never does anything, which that got proven to be a lie. And then, so even after that, it's proven to be a lie. What does Salon do? Do they write an article bashing this guy, saying we were duped? This guy, he took advantage of young children. No, they let him rebuke the accusations against him, and they're saying, "Oh, this is a guy just still trying to paint me as a monster." There has been a push. It's not been like a giant push, but there is a section in there that's starting to nudge, hey, let's normalize these.
Yeah,
and I don't think a lot of people are going to go for that. I mean, I know the LGBT community, they get really pissed off at the whole area, the pedophiles, because a lot of times they're letting gays into Boy Scouts, and rightly so. Gay men took a lot of offense to being associated with pedophiles.
Yeah, they should be.
So yeah, they're not gonna let you under that umbrella. I highly doubt it.
I hope not. I don't think anyone should push for it either.
No.
But
Salon should really be ashamed about writing that article, or letting that dude write that article and publish that.
Oh yeah, but I mean, who's running that paper? I mean, it's probably someone with similar interests. I don't want to just say that, but okay, look, if I had a newspaper, I would let people write articles that are accurate to the facts, this and that, or if it's an editorial, people's opinion, that's fine. But I'm not going to let a pedophile talk about just his justification for being a pedophile. I mean, a pedophile has to be, just about as bad as it gets in this country. And he does not, a pedophile who's, I don't know, I assume they're committing some sort of crime whenever they're, in that lifestyle. They don't deserve equal rights with white, black, Asian, LGBT community. They don't deserve it, and I would hope that they wouldn't want them in their group. I really hope I really wouldn't think they would. It just makes them look bad. Yeah. But I mean, speaking of sexual assaults, pedophiles, touching people inappropriately, your boy Justin Trudeau, he's fighting off some accusations right now. He's been grabbing girls by the pussy, bro.
He's very in tune to a woman's needs, and he very do you remember the time a woman who said mankind? He says, no, we say people kind here.
Yes.
Turns out I don't know if it was her, but he'd be snatching up on some ass.
Well, he's getting me too right now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And this is
good.
I was gonna say, this is another story that should be a big story, but it's not because there's so much crap going on, like usual. Right. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Did you read his rebuttal to it?
Well, I watched the video of him trying to talk his way out of this.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember anything bad happening that day.
Yeah, I mean, he grabs some titty.
Yeah. He's it's a good time. Of course, this is a great day.
Yeah, he was at a music festival.
Yeah,
probably on E, grabbing some titty and having a good time. He didn't think anything bad happened at all.
Yeah. Probably went home and wrote in his journal about it.
Yeah. We'll have to burn that now, though, because he's getting a lot of heat. Or he was getting heat. Now, Canada, I don't
all you
know.
Gotta do is give a sorry, and then you're good.
Yeah, that's what he listening to him talk, he's so careful with every word about about people and not saying men or women. I mean, he drives me nuts, that guy. And now I know he's a Me Tooer. I mean, it drives me really nuts. He's a complete hypocrite.
Yeah, and he's a darling of the Canadian Hollywood types. Like, they fucking love him.
Yeah. He's a darling of ours, too.
Is he? Yeah. He's such an asshole. Like, every man is just okay. And if you wear a baggy shirt or something here, you get a cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
He goes to these countries, dresses in the most stereotypical garb, and thinks he's like paying homage. But really, just looks like an asshole.
Yeah, he is. He acts like it. Some of his legislation, the things he's pushed, are absolutely ridiculous. He had one thing that he did. This was a while back, which really bothers me because kids, when you're a little kid, you're 3 years old.
Yeah.
And he basically made it so if basically you have a kid, it's 3 years old, 4 years old, whatever, and it's a little girl, and she says, "I'm a little boy," and basically he made a law where the parents could be arrested if they don't immediately, and their kids taken away if they don't immediately start hormone treatments to change the sex of their child. I mean, you ever hear of a tomboy or just a kid who maybe likes to play dolls with his sisters?
Or like
now all of a sudden
just learning the difference between genders and saying I'm a boy, I'm a girl, just like because they don't know what those words mean.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of little boys being stuck in holes.
Let's head out to Thailand.
Yeah, let's head out to Thailand, where
Hey, this is different. This is a different Thailand story because usually it's something stuck in little boys' holes.
yeah, actually, exact opposite.
Yeah.
Well, these kids got stuck in a hole. Well, essentially, a soccer team. They're out with their coach, and I think there's a cave system there. They went into the cave system. It gets pretty complicated down there. They got a little mixed up, and it started raining. And then the cave's filled with water. And basically, this is horrible timing for them because it was the very beginning of their rain season that will last until October. So essentially, they are trapped in there by water. Unfortunately, it's a very complicated, dark area. So they were lost for 9 days.
Yeah.
Everyone thought they were dead. Fortunately, they end up finding them. They were still all alive in the, I think it was like half mile or a mile into this cave. They were trapped in a dark cavern, but they were out of the water.
Right.
And so they've been trying to rescue these kids for a couple weeks now. I know that people from all different countries, United States, Australia, a lot of places there, were really trying to figure out a way to get them out because some of these kids can't even fucking swim.
Yeah.
So they're stuck in a cave full of water that they have to swim out of underwater, and some of them can't even swim. So it's been interesting. I saw Elon Musk. He built a submarine, with rocket parts.
Yeah.
But he didn't get there in time.
They were able to make the rescue, which is great. I mean, that's actually it's a really good story that the world doesn't get all the time. So
yeah,
good one to have.
The one bad thing that happened was one of the rescuers actually drowned trying to go in and out. So one person died, but the kids all survived. They got them all out within the last couple of days. I saw a really funny meme. It was Kevin Spacey with a scuba suit on. It said, "Did you say something about boys stuck underwater?"
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, if anyone's not aware, apparently he's part of the Me Too, but he was touching little boys or boys, men.
One.
Yeah. So more sex stories.
Raped boys to men.
All of them. He turned those boys into men.
So last story of the day, because we're actually running pretty long here, but Papa John's.
Yeah.
That Papa John no longer the head of Papa John's because apparently he likes to drop the N-word in the middle of conference calls.
Yeah. I don't know the context of this. I didn't read much about it. Oh, you do?
Yeah. He wasn't calling anybody the N-word. He wasn't even in something fell on his toe and he's like, oh, whatever. It was more like what did he say? They were doing like a role play thing about how to address it because he was caught up in he pulled advertising for a little bit because he was pissed at the NFL conference call about it. And he said in the conference call, Colonel Sanders, he used to say the N-word all the time. And then he followed that up with back in Indiana, they used to string him up on driving the road and stuff like this. And I think it was kind of like, I'm not that guy. That is repulsive. That's horrible stuff that Colonel Sanders and the people that were dragging him in trucks is. That's bad. What I did isn't bad. I just don't agree. I think that's where he was trying to go with it.
Mm.
Maybe say instead of Colonel Sanders said the N-word and actually saying the word, just say, the N-word.
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
Drop the actual word.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably a horrible person. I haven't had a Papa John's pizza in a really long time, years. And when I saw he's stepping down as a CEO, it's major because they're a publicly traded company, so there's a lot of other people influencing his departure as well. He just doesn't know it privately. This makes me sound like a bad person. It just made me kind of hungry. I was like, man, I haven't had a fucking Papa John's pizza in years. I kind of want one now. I feel like this is a publicity stunt just to get me to want to buy pizza. Just get on my mind with pizza. I love pizza.
I was listening to the Anthony Cumia show, And yesterday he talked about, you know, the ending where he said, because the news broke yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And what he said was, so since he did this, stock is, you know, crashed basically. So he bought a bunch of stock. I'll hold on to it for about 24 hours. They'll fire the CEO and I'm going to sell it and make a bunch of money. And I just saw a tweet before we started recording that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Like he already stock, and like within 24 hours, he basically made a couple grand off of him dropping the N-word.
Yeah, and there's guys who, as soon as they hear that, they short sell the stock and they make a fortune on going down. Then they buy it, comes back up, they sell it, and make. Look, the stock market. There's people making money both anyway. As soon as something like this happens, someone's gonna be ready to make money off of it. Except him, Papa John. What's his real name? Shatner.
Yeah, it's not Italian at all.
Yeah, he looks like Italian.
The biggest crime of the. Well, saying the N-word was the biggest crime. But this,
I'd say.
So you watch anything good lately?
No. I mean, other than the congressional hearing today, I haven't really watched much. I've been busy with these shows now.
Yeah, no shit, right?
But I feel bad because I haven't watched the second season of How to Kill Yourself or whatever that show's called, and I should. But like, it's summer, I have a hard time like sitting down watching TV for long periods of time in summer because I'm always out doing, or I want to be out doing something, you know, instead of sitting on the couch. But I'll get to it, I promise, Nick. One day we'll talk about it. It'll probably be like 2 years, but you'll forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you? What have you been watching?
I started watching last night. It's on. It just came out on YouTube. It's G-Funk. It's a documentary on G-Funk. You know, the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, Warren G, their whole come up and stuff.
Yeah,
badass.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would be interested in that, but I don't have RedTube or whatever it's called because I'm not rich like you.
I'm not rich. I just spend money unwisely.
Yeah, honestly, I've thought about getting YouTube Red because I probably watch 10 times more YouTube than I do actual cable.
Yeah,
but I do pay like a ridiculous amount for cable. I mean, I just do. I mean, it's just I have the movie channels and shit, so it's stupid because I don't watch them, but it costs a fortune to have it. So I watch boxing, and I pay like $1,000 a year to watch boxing, essentially. Like, and it's not even on that often. So
no, not at all.
I know I should and I could watch the fight on YouTube probably. So
yeah, it's definitely something to look into. But I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. We got this show going on now. We also have the Master Debate with Quaid. So far, we got 2 episodes out. What's great about the show is there's an expiration date on those shows. Like this one, news gets old.
Facts change.
Yeah, facts change. It's not going to matter in a week what we say here. It'll still be the most quotable movies debate. You can listen to it then. One's got some lasting power. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, last episode we did best ways to hide a body. If you're into dark humor, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And, also, if you're listening to this not on iTunes, but you listen to other podcasts on iTunes, make sure you subscribe. And if you like it, rate it, review it. It helps us out and makes it more discoverable.
Yeah, and if you want to do anything, if people listening want us to do a specific top 10 list or top 5 list, send us a message on Facebook, post it on there, because we're always looking for ideas for that show. It's a fun show. We're just looking for new things to do each week, so we're up for anything. We'll debate it all. Master debate.
That's what we do. All right, I'm out. I'm like the Thai kids. I'm out. All right, let's stop this broadcast too.